efficient bringing these. You might have never had one. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna, first of all, I'm gonna give you just a slight introduction. I know a lot of you have used it already, but on your how to register a calf, look at your very first screenshot. And now if I'm getting too basic for a lot of you, just tell me move on. But over here on the left-hand side, you'll see your profile, your balance, reports, customers, and then your animals, all animals, bulls, female steers, and legacy animals. And so, is there anybody in here that hasn't logged on to Horns and hasn't done anything on it? Okay. All right. What you will need to log on, you will need your TLBAA number and a password. That will be, your initial password will be given to you by the office, and then you can go on here and change it to something you can easily remember. So, when you initially log on, there will be a little windows up here on the right-hand side, and it'll ask for your TLBAA number, and just below that, it'll ask for your password. And you enter that stuff, and then you're on the system. And then that's when this page will come up. Now, what we're going to, here, I've got handouts up here for y'all, for people that have come in late. Register and transfer an animal. Thank you. Register. Transfer. All right, so we're going to register a calf first. So you will be on this screen. You'll be on your first screen. This will be what comes on. And then if you will look down here on the left-hand side, it says registration application. You click on that, and it's going to take you to the next screen.
Excuse me, Darlene, just like a quick announcement.
Certainly.
There's a tan Ram Hemi truck parked right out here on the street. They're fixing to haul it. The number is TX IEK 271. Anybody want to claim it? It's a real nice truck. Thank you. Is that working?
No, we're just going with our handouts. We've got handouts. Here's Suzanne. Okay, so it will take you to this. For those of y'all that came in late, we're on the register a calf, and we've gone to the second page. And then if anybody's here late, if you came in late and you need help in the beginning, I'll help you after. So this asks you how many animals are to be entered. Now I always suggest you can put 50 in here, and it'll take you to a screen where you can register 50 calves at a time. But I would recommend, until you get really used to the program, just register one at a time. Because if you make a mistake going through the others, then it's sometimes a little confusing how to get back. So you'll enter one in the little slot that it gives you, and then click to continue, and it'll take you to the next page. Now, on this page, there are certain things about this calf. You're all used to and you're familiar with when we used to have to fill in the applications by hand. This is exactly the information they're asking you for. So, under sex, it's going to have a little drop-down menu, and it's going to have a C, a B, or a steer, an S for a steer. So you just choose. You want to come in for the seminar?
No, I'm just listening to me.
Okay, I've got handouts if you want them. So you just choose, and in this instance, we're registering a cow, so it's a C. Then you put a calving date, and when you enter the calving date, you need to use the 4-digit year. In other words, 2010 or 2011. Don't just put /11. You need to use the 4-digit year. The twin code, it is defaulted to 1, which means it was a single birth. But it also has a drop-down menu, anything from 2 to 4. So if it's a twin, you go to the drop-down menu and you enter 2. If it's a triplet, Yes.
I have a question about the date part.
Uh-huh.
I tried to register a bunch of calves, and it kept, when I went to enter at the bottom or validate at the bottom,
Mhm.
the box kept coming up that I had my dates wrong, but I had them the same way it said, and I kept trying, and I never could make it work. Did I just start over some other day, or?
You entered with two.
Yeah, like 04, 02, 2011, and when I tried to validate them all, it said, that box came up and said you didn't do your dates right. I just did this like day before yesterday. Called the office and you all were here, so I thought I'd just talk to you when I get here.
Yeah.
Were those cows that you had purchased somewhere?
No,
Your
I've
natural cows?
registered calves before on, and
Okay.
Okay, so
they've
they
been
were
through
in
the
your herd
system, and I don't
everything.
know why I did that. It's computer stuff, probably.
Yeah.
If I do it again, it will probably work when I go home.
Probably so. I mean, I don't know about what would
Okay.
cause an error like that.
The only time it'll show up that way is, for example, if you bought something and it's been entered in that the animal was exposed from May 23rd to July 1, and then you tried to register a January calf that's not possible, then it'll pop up.
Okay,
It'll say,
these weren't in that class, but sometimes computer things work like we don't understand, so I
Yeah.
bet it'll do
so
it.
it'll pop up like that sometimes if your breeding dates do not register with your calving dates.
The other thing that might have caused that is when you initially enter the sire and dam, you enter it by their number, and it doesn't give their name on the first page. And you might have accidentally had an incorrect number entered. So for the sire dam, so it may have been trying to register that calf to a different sire that didn't fit within the
I
dates.
see.
So you may have to check every single box
Okay.
because of, what he's saying. You may have accidentally reversed two
I think
numbers
the
or something.
first time I validated, I think instead of 2011 for the date, I think I just had 11.
Mhm.
So it kicked it out. Then I went back and changed all that, and it
Okay.
kicked it out again, and it
Well,
continued to do
just
that.
check your numbers
I will.
for your siren day and be sure those are
Thank
correct.
you very much.
So Star Maker, under the registration name is not the name?
Yes, but the screen you will see, I've actually skipped over one screen. The screen you will see that you're
Okay.
entering this data, you will put in this number.
Okay.
You will put in the bull and the cow's number. So you need to have that information, their TLBAA number.
The registration number,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
not the private herd number.
right. And do not put an asterisk. A lot of our animals have an asterisk in there,
Right.
but do not put the asterisk. This doesn't recognize the asterisk.
Right.
Because it is not unique to, that number is unique to that animal without the asterisk.
Will it show up on the paper?
Yes,
The asterisk will come back on the?
yes.
Okay.
But in other words, there won't be an animal registered with a number and an asterisk and another animal registered with only that number. So that number is unique to that animal, whether it has an asterisk or not. Okay, so then you could select the service type, natural embryo transfer, AI. And if you have an embryo transfer in AI, there's going to be some additional information to complete. And on embryo transfer calves, you must furnish the office with an ET certificate signed by the technician that did the embryo transfer. And you can just fax that in the same day that you submit this and just send a little note to Rick, I'm registering this animal today. Here's the ET paper, or if it's an AI, the AI certificate.
Yeah, Darlene, I came across something. I've done embryo transfer one time in our herd in our whole lives. So when it came to stuff like this, to register these calves, it's like, well, we can't register them because we need a technician. So I go back to the people that did the transfer. He's all pissy. He says, I never had to do anything like this before. Blah, 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 blah. Well, so I'm like, well, okay. So I went back and I put it in this information in here and it was just fine.
Yeah,
And nobody got anything.
yeah.
They strictly took my word for the dates and everything. And I got the dates off the bill that I got from the people, but you know?
Well, I register quite a few ET calves, and if I forget to send it in, I'm always getting an email or something, you know, you have to.
Yeah.
And that is what's required by TLBAA. Other breeds don't require that, so I don't know why we still do, but if any of you are going to do embryo transfer, what I would recommend is you print you out a certificate, you have it there with you the day your embryologist shows up, get him to sign it right then. Because she's exactly right. Most of them are not used to signing those forms, so, yeah. Okay, so, this calf that I registered right here was a natural calf, and like I said, those are drop-down menus, so it's real easy to choose them. Then you choose the name of the animal, star credentials. Now, if you choose Star Baby, how many of you think that's going to be the only animal registered in the TLBAA with that name? Not very likely. So it will tell you, it will automatically fill in the PH number behind the animal's name. And when you go to the next screen and validate, and then it comes back up as Star Baby 008, and you'll say, well, I didn't put that 008 in it. But what it's telling you is there's another Star Baby, and so they have to use her private herd number to differentiate her as a different animal from the original Star Baby. Now, one of the, and also, under our old animal system, if you chose a name that was like 2 or 3 letters longer, you know, and those little, you wrote them in those squares and you wrote a couple of letters out here, a lot of times that system could take extra letters. This system will not. This system is strictly to the number of letters, characters, and I believe it's 23. So, if you're typing in a name and you come out to the end and you can't type anything more, then it's just going to have to be Star Credit instead of Star Credentials. If she was, oh my beautiful Star Credentials, it would be, oh my beautiful Star. So it's going to cut that name off for you, and then you have to go back and get all creative again. Okay, so your holding brand is in the system. That's already in there for you, and your preferred location is already in the system. So if you always brand on the left hip, that's going to be there. Your pH number location is already in the system. So all you're going to have to do is type in your private herd number. The locations are already there. Then when you get to these next 2 places, that's where you'll put in the number of the siren dam. And describe the calf, the color. You see where it has color description, there's a little circle with a question mark on it. If you put a word in there that's not one of our recognized words, like speckled, I don't believe, you know, everybody wants to describe an animal as speckled, but speckled is not one of our words. So when you validate it, it's going to come back and it's going to have the description highlighted. And you will have to go into that little help button and see that you can put spec or specs. And you know, it's sometimes fun just to explore that help button, because you'll see a lot of descriptive colors. I love to describe my colors. I don't register every red cow as red. I register as maroon or mulberry or orange or tawny, or, you know, I like to get a color description that really fits her.
So it gives you suggestions.
Yes, yes, it's all the words that the TLBAA accepts.
Recommend.
And when you go through there, you'll go, wow, I didn't realize that was a color, you know. But you'll see buckskin and tawny and, you know, just a lot of really neat descriptions. So that's just an interesting thing to click on that little thing. And if you, so I had her red with mottled face, white on back, hips, tail, and belly, and it accepted all that. Now, they have some information in here for your information alone, and this came mostly from the commercial side. If you do your birth weight on your calves and you want to enter it there, then that information will stay in the system. So when you go back and look that animal up, it had a birth weight of 57 pounds, or whatever. but that's not necessary to register a calf. Also, the calving ease is not necessary. It's a score 1 through 5. If you know that cow popped that baby right out and you want to give her a good score of 1, that's fine, but that's not necessary either. So there you go with your embryo flush dates and transfers, and then that's your number.
Those
Now-
are required if it's an embryo.
Yes, yes.
The calving ease scores, I don't know whether, but I'm sure that's the way it is in the computer system because it came from Brangus. 1 would be unassisted, 2 would be a hand pull, 3 is a hard pull, 4 is a cesarean section, and 5 is abnormal presentation and breech birth or something. So if you want to score that, that would stay in the system for that particular animal.
Okay, now, if y'all turn to the next page, this was the question that you had a minute ago, and I actually got the last 2 pages reversed in here, because you will see on this page that it only has the space for the number of the siren dam, and the name is not there yet. So this would be the page I was just talking about filling in. And then when you hit on validate, this page you had before is what comes up. Now, once you validate it, I strongly recommend that you go back and you review every space. You just entered it, but I tell you what, if you make a mistake and you have to change it, it costs you $15. So, once you hit validate, go back through this, and you think you entered that bull's number correctly, but just read his name, read the dam's name. I mean, this is real important because I've had to pay about $30 so far for mistakes I made. I accidentally registered an embryo transfer calf as a natural calf, and the certificate came, and I go, how did I make that mistake? That's the first mistake I've ever made in my whole life. But it cost me $15.
You said if it was an embryo transfer, you must provide a what?
An embryo transfer certificate, and those you can get from the office or the website. It's just a certificate that your embryologist signs stating that that person transferred this embryo into this cow in this state. Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry I got those 2 reversed, but now we can move on to the next one. And this is your, tells you the details of what you're registering, and it asks for your payment method. Now, if you'll look on the very first page to this handout, so we're going through these steps. So when you get home and you get to your computer, you can put this page down, and you can go through every one of these steps, and it'll take you right through. So you see we've been down flush date, transfer date. There's also a place where you can say record but do not register. The neat thing about this system is the day the animal has her calf, you can go in there and record it but not register it. If that turns out to be a roper, if it gets injured and it doesn't, you wind up not registering, it will still be in the system to show that that cow had a calf on that day. Now, the way it is right now, when we have a sale and you're interested in buying a 9-year-old cow and you want to know what she's produced, you can call in the TLBAA office. But this was before horns. Now you can look it up. But you could call in and say, okay, I'm interested in Dolly Sue. What does she produce? They would say, well, we have 2 calves registered to her. She's a 9-year-old cow. And you go, she didn't produce very much that was of any value, or maybe she went a long time between calving. But if you register, if you record every calf she had, and you see that she calved regularly every year, that's really a benefit for your cow to show that she did have a good production record. I mean, maybe she happened to be a bull producer and they didn't get registered or whatever, but she had those calves. So you can enter it And then you can hit record but do not register. And then when you get ready to register that calf, you just go back and click on it and everything's already filled in and you just pay to have it registered. Okay, so then you hit validate and that's when it'll show the name of the site on the dam. And like I say, be sure to look at those carefully so you didn't make a mistake. Then when you get ready to pay, we have several methods that you can pay with. And that's on the second page. There's PayPal. You can send a check in the mail. You can put on, if you have a credit card on file with the TOBAA, you click that one. Or if you want to do it by credit card, you call Don or Rick or something and say, I want to charge this registration to this credit card, give them that information. Or you can put on their check. And that means you drop a check in the mail that day and they just hold it. They won't mail it to you, they'll hold it until that payment is received in the office. So a lot of people thought you had to use PayPal with this system. That's not the case. You still have all these methods of paying. And you just choose and you tell them how you want to do it.
But you can't pay right there. You have to give you the call to give the number first.
You can, if the way you can pay immediately is if you have a credit card on file at the office, or if you use PayPal. Now with PayPal, you do not have to have a PayPal account. You can choose that, and PayPal will take your credit card. So you have all kinds of options.
PayPal's the only instant option.
Yes, PayPal or credit card on file would be the instant options. Okay, now does anybody have any questions about registering account? Are you going to do it online? Why not?
Take longer. I can scratch it on a piece of paper and zip it off in a heartbeat.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't
Yeah,
This
men
is-
don't.
this
Am I
is
gonna get that computer stuck in an hour to get the screen up?
I'm gonna get this
I gotta hunt Ann up to get my screen up.
All right.
It's easier for me to call him than to email him or anything because
I agree
he
with
has
you
to
on
have
that.
Ann go open it up for him.
I agree with you on that.
I like the Horns program a lot.
Oh, it's great.
It's wonderful. And the really neat things, now I know you love pedigrees and I know you love to study pedigrees. When you get on this, you can look at the pedigrees as far back as they're in the registry on that animal. That's one of the really, they're doing the research and then you find animals in your herd that have, distant ancestors and stuff. And there's just so much stuff that's neat. Now, I want to tell you,
Great too.
go back to this,
I just
on this
don't-
registering, go back to your very first screenshot, because I want to tell you, another thing that you could do. How many of you take pictures of all your animals? Yeah, how many of you carry them around more so than your grandkids' pictures? Okay, you can add a picture of your animal to this program. And, well, I'll tell you the easiest place is that me to show you how to do that will be from our transfer. So we'll go into our transfer. Everybody get your other hand look at it. Okay, so now we've just sold a cow. We had Mr. and Mrs. Jones come to our ranch. They looked through our herd. They fell in love with the heifer. They bought her. You can go into the house that day and transfer her, and they'll have that registration certificate in about 3 days.
A hard copy?
A hard
Yeah,
copy from the
yeah.
office. And they are going to be ecstatic.
Yep.
Because when you buy your first animal, you just can't wait till you get that registration in the mail. And then they're going to be so happy with you, they're going to come back and buy the next animal.
Okay, can I have a question?
Yes.
When you're registering a calf and you're gonna intend to keep it, do you get a hard copy registration?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We're still doing the hard copies of registrations. They're still coming out of the office. And I don't see that changing. People enjoy having those. That paperwork.
Yeah.
That's important to us. Okay, so in this example, I've transferred a female. The So you can see this first screenshot, and over here on the left, I would go to my where it says females. Oh,
I got it.
okay, you click on females, and then it will bring up a list of all the females in your herd. This is just the first page of mine. And actually, I printed this screenshot out after I'd already transferred this heifer. So normally we would be able to look down here and see her name, but she already went out of my herd. It happened so fast, it's in the blink of an eye. Okay, now one thing I want to point out to you here, you see a couple of my cows have pictures of them, these little bitty tiny pictures here. I'm going to tell y'all how to put pictures of your animals in this program. All right, the animal I'm transferring is Forever a Star, so her name doesn't appear there because I'd already done this before. But go to the next page and we will see Forever a Star. Now, there's very little to fill out here. You have to fill in the date that you sold her, the date of the transfer. You have to fill in how many parties you sold her to. You know, a lot of these bulls get sold to multiple owners, so you could choose 2 or 3 there, but in this instance, it was just one member, so I put in 1. And then you need the buyer's TLBAA number. Now, you go to yourself, you go, my goodness, I didn't even think to ask them for a number when they were here. No worry, there's a search, this has a search capability. Yes, so you can just type in that person's last name. I mean, you may not know if they're registered as Mr. and Mrs. Red Duke or how they're in here, you know. So you just type in Duke with an asterisk. Now, Brown with an asterisk may bring up a lot of names. You may have to try to narrow it down. But you can search for that individual and get their number right there. And let me,
If they're in the program, or if.
yes. Now, let's say you sold an animal to a new breeder. How many of y'all are aware that when you sell an animal to a brand new breeder, you can magnanimously sponsor a membership for them in the TLBAA, and it doesn't cost you?
But you can't, I tried to put that in the system,
Here's
because they
what
told
you-
me this to put promo, and it didn't show up.
Yeah, well, they've changed that, and here's what you have to do. Send an email to Rick Fritchie and say, Rick, I sold an animal to these people. Give them the name and address and phone number and everything you can think of that a member would supply. I need a number for them. He'll email you back and say their TLBA number will be such and such. So right then, they're entered, and that's when you put their number in there.
Okay.
So if it's somebody that is a member, you can search for them and get their number that way. If it's a brand new number, send an email to Rick. I mean, usually within the hour, he'll get back to you with the number. And then they also get their new member package. Boy, they're in love with you. Because you've done a good job for them. You know, you've completed their paperwork right away. Okay, now the things when you're registering, when you're transferring a cow, what's important to the buyer? He wants to know if she's pregnant and you know, if she has a calf inside, he needs the information about the calf. So in this instance, Forever Star had been exposed to bull BTI 78145, and I put in the dates that she was exposed. Now, when the new owner gets ready to register that calf, the information's already in the computer. So he's already authorized. He doesn't, you know, need one of those transfer forms with that information on it. It's already in the program. And if the cow had a calf at side, you would fill in that information down here, sex, date of birth, the same stuff you filled in to register a calf. But you're not going to register that calf because typically calves at side are branded and registered by the new owner. So, does everybody understand what you have to fill in for transferring. You hit confirm, and you'll get a confirmation sheet. Again, read this very carefully to make sure you didn't transfer to the wrong person or enter the wrong bull that she was bred to. So you will see that I transferred Forever a Star. She came from me. She on June 5th, 2011. She was to Bill and Judy Meredith. She was bred to Star Regard or exposed to Star Regard from these dates to these dates. And then you just go to your page to pay, and again, you have all the options that we just discussed about paying.
So if we have cows and Shannon probably answered it, if we've not transferred, like we've gotten cows from other people.
Okay.
And I don't think they transferred it to us, but we've got.
They gave us hard copies to do it.
Can we transfer them on the site or do I?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Especially if they have their hard copies, because they'll have their TLBAA number
Right.
to put into it, so they should be able to transfer it
Yeah.
to them. I can
Oh, wait,
transfer
wait a
it to
minute.
me
Did they
from
just,
them.
when you say they gave you the hard copy, just the certificate, or did they give you a transfer paper also?
Both,
Both?
yes.
Okay, did they give you $15?
No.
That's the problem.
So we have to pay the $15.
Yes.
That's
right.
okay.
Or go back and have them do it, because I think,
No.
well,
Yeah,
that's a real heartburn I have with breeders. You sell an animal, you ought at least be able to pay $15 to transfer.
That's
I've had it
exactly
happen to
right.
me twice, and I won't buy another animal from them for it. So
That's-
they save themselves $15, but they'll never get another sale from me.
that's
So-
exactly right. And according to our bylaws, it is your responsibility as the animal's owner to
Yep.
pay to have that animal transferred into the new owner's name. But yes, you can go and transfer it to you and send your money in to it. Okay, now, I want to tell you about putting a picture of that animal in. On the transfer, go over to the third sheet, and this is where the list of all my cows are. Oh, I forgot to tell you, in order to get to the transfer screen, you see that X fur, X-fur right up at the top. And there's a circle below those. You just go down to the animal you're transferring and you click on that circle, and that's what takes you to the next screen. Now, does everybody see that? Like if I wanted to transfer 7-Eleven bells and whistles, I would choose that second little circle down, and then it would take me to the screen to transfer her. Now, out here where it says no photo on a lot of these, you go to where it says no photo and you click on that. And it will take you to a screen that will have a browse button on it. Click on browse, and then it takes you into your computer. You go to the folder in your computer where you keep your animal pictures. You click on the picture of that animal. And then there'll be a button below the browse button that says upload this image. And you just upload the image, and then her little picture will show up out here in the list, but when you go to her page, there'll be like a 2-inch picture of her over here.
Will it go on the registration paper if you do it that, is there a way to do that for the registration?
No, they're not printing the pictures on the registration papers.
And what, do you know what size you have to do it for it to fit on there, does it matter?
I've used any size I say, but I've never had, I think it does tell you can't be more than so-and-so.
Does it?
I think it has a maximum
Yeah.
limit, but I've used even real little small, and they come out looking okay. But it doesn't go on the registration paper, but if you wanted to print out this animal's profile to send to somebody, it would go in there. It'd be on there, so. But it's very, very simple to get your pictures on here. Now, when you first start going on to this, if you've been in the business for a long time, there'll be some cleanup work that you need to do. Like when I went into it, I found that I had animals still listed in my herd that I might have sold commercial. I never did call the office and say, take this. So there'll be some animals. When you go to your listing like this of your cows or your bulls, you may find animals that are listed in your herd that you don't have anymore, or you don't know why they're there or whatever, but you just never notified the office to get them out of your herd. So you can go over here to change status. Click change status by that animal, and take you to a screen, and it'll give you some options, like you sold it commercial, or you called it, you know, for a bad odor. It'll give you some options. You can choose an option if you want to, or you can just, you don't have
Just
to
like
choose.
the Longhorn Mets.
Right, right. So it's a good idea to go in and clean up your herd. It helps clean up the registry too. And,
But you don't lose that animal, it goes into legacy.
right,
Yeah, so those animals will still stay in your program, but they're just down here in the legacy file. So if you need to go back and refer to an animal, they're always there.
yeah, like my cow Sarah Sam that died last year. I had to go in and
Move her to
make
legacy.
sure she died, and it broke my heart. But she's still with me. She's a legacy.
So in your female herd, if you want to clean it up, then only the animals that you have will be there, and then all your other animals are in legacy. Same way with bulls too.
Now, as I said, there's so much that you can do with this program. And this program also has a lot more power than we currently have turned on. They started this program with the basic stuff that we need, like registering, transferring, research, searching. This next year, there's a good possibility we're going to get more options turned on in this program.
For an additional fee.
No, it's already there.
Okay.
It's already there. No, there will not be an additional fee to the TLBAA or to you as an individual. Right now, we have 500 people signed up on Horns, and I noticed recently there was a little discussion on Facebook about, you know, is this program really worth it to the TLBAA for the money that they spent to get it developed, and is it paying for itself?
Yes, sir.
And the big advantage to this is that you can register that calf today, and however soon the mail will get it to you, you can have that registration paper. You can transfer it today, and when the mail gets it there, actually the animal is registered, is done when you do it. And this is really neat. If you register an animal, pay for her with a credit card on file or something, you can go to her profile right then. Let's say you're going to enter a calf in a show this weekend, and you go, oh my gosh, I haven't registered her. Go online, register that calf, pay for it with a credit card or whatever, and her TLBA, she's in the system with a TLBAA number. I mean, it's just amazing, you know, those little waves just travel so fast in the air, and I don't know how they do it, but it is. But you can research pedigrees. I mean, for a new breeder, that is one of the most important things, is looking through pedigrees. And maybe you saw an animal out here, or 2 or 3 animals that you really like the looks of. Write their names down and go home. Look that animal up on Horns. Research their pedigree. It will teach you so much. You'll start seeing names consistently in some of the pedigrees, the great animals, the legendary animals of our breed. It's such a wonderful teaching tool. It's very, very quick. And if you need any help with it when you get home, don't hesitate to call me. I will be glad to sit at my computer and walk you through it, and you know, whatever help you need. We had a group of beta testers on this program. I was one of them. Elmer Rosenberger is one. Glenn Phipps was one. Suzanne Faskey is one. So we were listed as the people the helpers, for somebody to call us for technical support. So if you get stuck any place in that program, I'm Darlene Aldridge, Star Creek Ranch, and I'm in the magazines or the website or whatever, you can get my number. Don't hesitate to call me. I'll be glad to help you. But our goal is to get as many people on this system as we can, because here's what makes it so valuable to the TLBAA. It runs a reconciler every day, and it just puts those things through that reconciler so fast. And those animals are now in our system, they're registered. You did the work for Richie or Dana. And you see, Maurice, when you're saying, oh, I can just write it out so fast, if you do it online, it's already done, and Rick doesn't have to look at your paper and say, Maurice forgot to put the color of that calf in here, and call you up.
Darlene, I'm not against this. If you'll remember, I was instrumental
I
in
know,
getting this.
I know you were. I'm just
Okay.
giving you a hard time because I know you and I can do that with each other.
And it don't bother me.
No, I'm just teasing you. But does anybody have any questions about the system?
I have one more question about the transfer.
Okay.
So we can go on and transfer that cow, but what prevents me from transferring one of his cattle to me? Is there something on the system that
Well,
says,
you
no,
know,
you
I
can't
got
do
to
that,
thinking
that's not
about
yours?
that.
Won't do that.
You,
I just want to make sure there's nothing that's going to stop me
Yeah.
from.
And his,
Cow
that egg number is not the owner of the cow. This cow owns, and it will not pick it up.
oh yeah, it won't come up on your list as in your herd. So that is probably just gonna have to be mailed into the office, that information. You're right, because when you pull up your herd, it won't show in your herd.
And I thought when you transferred an animal, you had to send in that hard copy. So,
You used to. You used to. You
So
don't
you-
have to do that anymore. When an animal's transferred now, the printer in the office prints the new information on the front, and on the back, it prints the previous owner history.
okay,
And it is mailed to the new owner.
okay, so you don't have to.
no longer have to return. So if you want to keep certificates as a history of what you've owned, you know, a hard copy, you can do that. You can throw them in the trash.
See,
But
because
in their
Don't have
case,
all the little
in their
stickers
case
on
though,
the back.
No, it doesn't have the stickers, but
That's
it
right, but it's got the
prints.
information, but the
It's
little
got-
stickers aren't on.
but the stickers
The
won't
lick
be.
on stickers.
Yeah, it won't have the stickers, but it'll have it printed.
Well, I have a question because, you know, we went to a sale and we bought some cattle that had been PO'd and just did, and he just gave us the transfer, and I was thinking I had to have that hard copy, but so long as I have the transfer paperwork that he had filled out, then I can transfer the animals to me.
You have to,
Okay.
you have to send that to association.
Yeah,
That
you'll have to
cow
send
won't
that
be
into
in
the
your-
office.
You don't have, you have to send the hard copy, that's what her problem is.
Well,
You
you
have
know,
to send the
we
hard
have to
copy to
mail
the
it.
but she
association.
won't have to have a certificate to send in. She
But I
has
just
to-
have to have that transfer, that hard copy transfer.
And so once you send it in,
Then they'll transfer.
then it'll show up into your file.
Oh, okay,
She's
so
not in your file until she's officially transferred.
transferred over. So can I do that, like on the registration, can I transfer it and then fax in that hard copy that I had to Rick?
You won't be transferring her online.
Oh, okay, I
She
can't.
won't- When you pull up the
Okay.
females in your herd,
She won't
be
show
in there.
up.
And I made
Okay,
a
all right.
mistake of telling you. That has to go through the office.
So now
Okay, that
what
has
you
to go
would-
to the office.
Can the seller go online and transfer
The
it?
seller.
If they're a
puts
member.
up-
The seller put
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
One thing you
And
can do
if,
is
the important thing to remember before you can use this, you have to get a password and then go online. And if anybody wants to give me your name and TLBAA number, I'll pass that to Dana. And Monday, she can have a temporary password sent to you. And then you can go on, you can go in and use that to log in.
But we're gonna have to mail it in anyway.
Yeah,
So
those
we
you
could just,
will
yeah,
have to do.
we'll just.
I missed something here now. How does, if I transfer a cow and I got the registration, how's that get to the owner?
A new one is mailed from the
then I retain the hard copy, they get another hard copy.
And, you know, your hard copy, that now transferred 2 or 3 times, and they have those white stickers on the back of it. When they get the new copy, it will have that information on the back, but it'll be printed.
Okay, so,
It'll just be typed.
so the history of this, of sales.
Stays
It's still there.
stays on the certificate.
Okay.
But the big advantage to this is saving time with you and saving time for the office personnel.
Okay.
And so when, if